Welcome to modeling a cartoon mushroom and making an STL and height map from it. We will need the following add-ons enabled, if not already enabled. We need the bool tools, import-export STL, and 3D print toolbox. To enable the add-ons, go to Edit, Preferences, Add-ons. Search for bool tools and use the checkbox to enable. Next, search for Import-Export STL. Finally, enable the 3D Print Toolbox add-on. When done, close out the window. This is not really a step-by-step tutorial. Look at the different techniques I'm using for modeling and use them to make your own model. Let's begin. Let's start with the body of the mushroom. Also, I do a lot of subdivision modeling. That means I do a basic shape and then allow the software to interpolate when it adds additional geometry. You lose some control over the shape, but you also gain speed. We'll start with a cube as the base of the body. Let's start by making the cube shape more like a mushroom base shape. A fat bottom and a narrow top. We'll be subdividing to get a rounder shape and also the geometry that we need. Play around with the shape until you are happy. There is no wrong shape. Now let's add a circle to make the mushroom top. In the edit mode, start extruding and moving to form the shape. Again, no shape is wrong. Subdivide to add geometry and to smooth out the shape. Going back to the body, let's start working on the face. Apply the subdivision to generate the geometry. Select the squares for the shape of the mouth, and once selected, extrude inward. Instead of using subdivision for the next step, we will use the multi-resolution modifier. We will do this for digital sculpting. We could use subdivision, but Blender becomes laggy for me if we have too much geometry, and the multi-resolution seems to perform better for me. But before sculpting the face, let's add some eyes. Add a sphere and resize, and move to the eye position. I like to use the mirror modifier for symmetry. Now let's start sculpting. Pull and move the surface until you get the mouth the shape you want. I am going for a happy open mouth smile. I'll be using primarily the grab and clay brushes to sculpt the face, and then the smooth brush to clean up the geometry. Turn on symmetry to speed up the process. The mushroom top is also a little plain, so let's add some detail at the bottom. Select the area and then deselect the two circles to delete the lines. Bevel the lines and then extrude downward to create some ridges. Finally, for the top, for a little character, and to also change the symmetry, I am tilting the top a little. Back to the mushroom face. You need some teeth. Add a cube and size it to the mouth. Add a loop cut and bevel, then extrude inward. Finally, resize the bottom of the teeth for a more buck-toothed look. Do a final review of the model and resize or move the parts to where you want them, or add any additional detail. I am adding a brow and nose area to the base. And we now have a mushroom modeled. Apply all the modifiers to finalize the shape. The next step is to make the model manifold to make it 3D printable. Using the Boolean function union, we will select two pieces at a time until all the parts are fused together as one piece. As a double check, we will use the 3D print toolbox. Select the model and press check all. If there are any problems like non-manifold edges or other problems, select Make Manifold under Cleanup. Depending on the geometry, this may take a few or more seconds. If there are no issues, you can then export the model as an STL, ready to be 3D printed using your preferred slicer software. We will have to create a shader material to capture the XYZ position data. Open the shader editor. Delete the principal BSDF node. Go to Add, Input, Geometry node. Next, Add, Converter, Separate XYZ node. Next, Add, Converter, Math node, and Set to Multiply. This will establish the length of the model for the height map. Next, Add, Converter, Math node, and Set to Logarithmic. This will provide better detail for the height map. Next, Add, Converter, Color Ramp. Different softwares establish black or white as the ceiling and the opposite for the floor. Blender uses white as the ceiling and black as the floor, so we need to flip the color map. Move the black slider over and set RGB to B-spline. connect all the nodes. Move the model away from the zero-axis plane. In the Render Properties tab, set the render engine to cycles. Eevee works, but in my subjective opinion, cycles gives a better result. Set device to GPU render. In Film tab, select Transparent. In the Outputs Properties tab, let's set the output format. Set resolution 1920 by 1920. We want PNG with 16-bit and no compression. This will give us the best result for the height map. It is a compromise between quality and size of file, but since we're making this, we don't need to compromise. Next, let's set the camera parameters. The height map at the end of the day is a rendered image, so the camera is very important. We want to set it perpendicular to one of the axes, in this case the y-axis. Press the Viewport Rendered Shading button to see what the camera will capture. Now going into the Material shader, set your math nodes to capture your model. Unfortunately, this is not automatic. You will have to play with the values until you find something that you like. You can also play with the color ramp values. Finally, try different focal lengths with the camera. You can also change the pose of the model for more artistic results. After you're satisfied, press the render button and see your height map image come to life. When complete, save to your Bas Relief folder. As a reminder, don't forget to save your Blender file for future use. Whenever I do a height map, I also test to make sure it is doing what I want it to do. Start a new Blender instance, delete the default cube, add a plane, and in edit mode, subdivide it, and in the subdivide panel, enter 100 under the number of cuts. Go back into object mode. In the texture properties panel, open the height map you created. Go to the modifier panel and click on the subdivision surface, and then click on the displace modifier. Change the mid-level to 0, and click on the browse texture to be linked button, and select the height map image you earlier imported. Increase the subdivision levels until you have the detail you want. Under the displace modifier, play with the strength value until you have the height you want. And done.